Hello, I'm Michelle and welcome to Somewhere in Bookland. And today I'm going to be talking about the 6 books I read in the month of September, which is exactly one more than I read in August, and I was a little disappointed with how many books I read in August, and I told myself as long as I read more in September I'll be happy, so I guess I'm happy, right? Now the first book I read in the month of September was an arc I had gotten at Y'all West, and that is Not Even Bones by Rebecca Schaeffer. This book is about this girl Nita whose mom brings her home supernatural bodies that she cuts up and separates into parts so her mom can sell off the parts on the black market. And she doesn't feel bad about this because all she's doing is cutting up dead things, right? But then one day her mom brings home a live specimen and she just can't do that. So she ends up trying to save her mom's victim and winds up on the black market in his place because Nita is herself supernatural. And Nita realizes that there's no line that she won't cross to get free and get back home. Now, I really enjoyed this book and flew through it, and I'd give this book a 4 stars. If you're looking for a book with gore in it, then this book is definitely for you. There is a point where a toe gets cut off and put into like a martini and drank. A slab of flesh gets cut off and eaten, and it's just very interesting. I also really like the concept of there being different supernatural beings and different body parts of each supernatural being once ingested could cause you to develop a certain symptom. Like some people would make you high like a drug, and other people could possibly give you the powers that they have, which is just a really cool idea. I mean, it's gory, but it's cool nonetheless. Now, Nita is unlikably likable. She isn't a hero, she's more of an anti-hero. She doesn't always do the best things, she's not always morally correct, but she does what needs to be done, and for that I really liked her. She knows what she wants and she strives to get it. And she realizes at one point when she helps the living specimen that her mom brought home, when she helps him out, she's like, okay, morally I can't do this. But then I think at the end of the book, Nita probably wouldn't have cared because she's gone through so much at this point. She knows it's a you or me thing, and she'll do everything to protect herself. Now, there is a twist in this book that I was kind of thinking might happen, but then I was like, no, that's not right. But then it happened, and I'm excited to see the next book in the series. Now, the next book I read was also a 4-star read for me, and that was The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Goo. Now, this book is about this girl, Clara, who loves practical jokes, and she ends up doing one on herself, kind of. And it ends up getting taken way too far, and her arch enemy Rose end up having to spend the summer working in her dad's food truck, the Cobra, which Clara isn't too happy about because she had already planned spending the summer with her mom, who is like a social media starlet. She also ends up meeting this boy Hamlet, who she thinks is kind of cute. Now, working on the truck, she realizes that people necessarily aren't who she thought they were, specifically Rose, and it's just a really cute contemporary story. Now, I really enjoyed this book. It was a really quick read for me. I loved Clara. I loved her character development. I loved seeing her and different people become close and maybe drifting away from other people. I loved her dad. I thought that their relationship towards each other was really good and showed that she supported him and he supported her, and sure, maybe they didn't always get along, but that's life. And I loved that, you know, he tried to protect her from some things, which is again something that would happen in a natural, like, realistic father-daughter or parent-child relationship. And I just loved this book. Taking place primarily in a food truck was really good because it caused the characters to be forced to confront each other and get to know each other and learn to work well together because they had to succeed in doing this. And I just thought it was really good and I would recommend it. Now, the next book I read was I Hate Fairyland Volume 4, Sadly Never After. And I love this series of graphic novels. It's about this girl Gertrude who gets sucked into fairyland and she ends up being stuck there for 30 plus years trying to find her way home. Well, her body isn't aging, her mind is, and she grows very violent and angry and just wants to get home. And like I said, I love the artwork. I love everything about this series. Now, I didn't necessarily know going into this that this was the last volume in the series, and I was very sad when I found that out. Now, so far, I believe I've given every volume a 5 stars, and I would love to do that with this one too, but I just, in good conscience, can't give this one a 5 stars. I don't even think I can give it a 4 stars. Right now, this one's sitting at about a 3.5 stars for me. I felt like it was very rushed, and I felt like the story wasn't really wrapped up nicely. It was altogether, the whole series was really good, and like I said, I felt like this one was just like rushed to try and wrap it up. I mean, it was kind of cool to see how it ended and to see, you know, what it would look like after potentially, but I just really felt like it was kind of a disappointing ending to me. And yes, I would still recommend reading the whole series because the whole series as a whole is good. It's just gonna have, you know, kind of lackluster ending. The next book I read was an ebook from my library, and that is The Best Kind of Magic by Crystal Sistari. This book is about Amber, and her whole family has this Wiccan gene in them that has kind of skipped over her. She's not exactly a Wiccan, she is what they call a matchmaker. She can look in someone's eyes and see their true match. Now, she works at her mother's magic shop, Windy City Magic, both helping her mother out and also giving readings for customers who want to be confirmed that the person they're dating is their soulmate before possibly popping the question. Now, she's very confident in her powers and has never been wrong yet, but she is kind of sad because the one person's match she cannot see is hers. She has never seen somebody that is to be her match, and she has never seen somebody that she's supposed to be their match for. Now, a boy comes into her shop one day needing help, and she finds herself falling for him, but she can see his match in his eyes, and it's not her. So she's trying to help him out and not fall for him, because what's the point in starting something if she knows that in the end she's not the one for him? I give this book about a 3.5 stars. I think it's really cute and I want to read the second one. It's not a bad book. There's some stuff that tends to get reiterated a lot in here that I don't think needs to have gotten mentioned quite as much. Like, I get the point that she can't see her match and she's upset about that. I also tended to find myself more attracted to some of the subplots than of the main plot of helping him out. Some of the subplots just were more interesting to me, and I'm going to continue the series, and I would love to hopefully see some more of the subplots. Hopefully they could become more prominent in the next couple books. You know, I really did enjoy the characters, and I kind of felt for Amber. I really liked her best friend's character. You know, the boy that comes into the shop is really cool. Her mom's pretty nice. And I can see some of the things that she did, like I don't necessarily agree with maybe some of the steps that she took to help the boy out, but I can see why she did what she did. And I mean, especially at the age that she is, maybe thinking that she could help out and prove to her mom that, you know, she can do it, that she might not be a Wiccan and that she might just be a matchmaker, but that she could still help out. I did enjoy the book, and I do plan on continuing in the series. Now, the next book I read was also a library book, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hong. And I loved this book. I absolutely loved it. I read this book for the Contemporary-a-thon and it was just amazing. It is about this girl, Stella, who has Asperger's and hasn't really had a real relationship with a boy. And so she hires this guy, Michael, who's an escort, to help her become comfortable in doing the stuff that she doesn't feel comfortable with. And of course, sparks fly and they fall for each other. And I just loved their relationship in this story. I loved his family. Michael's family was amazing in this story. I loved Stella. I loved how she was as a character. I loved how she grew, and I loved how just she was with Michael. I loved how she was with his family. I loved how she was with her family. I didn't necessarily love her family that much, but I loved her dynamic with them. I liked her dad better than her mom, but I just loved this book so much. Now, this book is very steamy in some parts, and I don't mind that. I enjoy a good steamy book. I loved that Stella was smart. I loved that Michael's sister was smart. Like I said, I loved her relationship with his sister. I loved that at one point she helps his sister out, but she doesn't want to just give it to her. She wants her to earn it, and it's just an amazing book. 5/5 would recommend. And the last book I read in the month of September was also for the Contemporary-a-thon TBR, and that was The Fox and the Hound by R.S. Gray. And R.S. Gray is one of my favorite new adultish authors, and I love her books. This one wasn't my favorite, but it was still really good. This one is about Madeline, who's 27, and her career is kind of like in the dumps. She is trying really hard to be a real estate agent, and so far the only sale she's made is to her own brother, and now that money is starting to dry up. In walks Dr. Adam Fox, the newest vet in her town, and she makes an absolute fool of herself for the first time that she sees him. Then she realizes, hey, maybe I can sell him a house. He has to be on the market for one, right? And then so she makes a fool of herself the second time she sees him. He knows that she wants to sell him a house, and so he has a proposition for her. Pretend to be my girlfriend so you can meet my family and they can get off my back for a bit, and I will let you sell me a house. Then things start picking up between them and getting steamy, and it's just a fun, quick romance. Madeline isn't a perfect cookie cutter character, and I appreciated this book for that. She had flaws and they were obvious. Adam too wasn't perfect, but I think together as a couple they worked really well together. Also, I loved the dogs in this story, and I loved that she picked him. She picked her dog and didn't realize it was going to be huge, and then it ended up being huge, and the person who sold her that dog definitely played her, but I still enjoyed the dog aspect of the story, and I just really enjoyed this book, which, like I said, it's not my favorite. Right now I think my favorite is Arrogant Devil, or it's one of the favorites, but I did really enjoy this, and I need to keep working through her backlog of books that I haven't read yet, and this would get a 4 stars. So those are the 6 books that I've read this month, and overall it was a pretty decent reading month. I really enjoyed the books I read. Not that I read a whole bunch of them, but I did enjoy them, and that's all I gotta say. Click the thumbs up if you like this video, hit subscribe if you want to see more of this face in your feed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.